Iron County voters tell me they got their mail-in ballots too late twice or not at all. Coming up, what the county is doing to make sure everyone can vote.
We really want everybody to exercise that right to vote.
It may be a long night for election results, but you have the power to change that.
It was a windy day here across the state, plus snow has started off to our north and west. We're going to see some significant winter conditions here across Utah. I'll let you know where.
Many Utahns are in the middle of open enrollment for health insurance.
Tonight, Fox 13 News goes in depth with how much rates are rising here in Utah.
They're just raw food, and each meal feeds about 8 people.
A Tooele man back at it for another year by helping those who need a good meal during the holidays. We'll introduce you to him in a story that's positively Utah.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Iron County is left scrambling to get voter information out to the public as mail-in ballots fail to make it in on time for Election Day.
The Iron County clerk says a majority of the ballots arrived Saturday, but voters tell Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser that it's just too late, and they fear many rural residents won't make the drive to turn in their ballots or vote in person.
Election Day is just a day away, and Iron County voters say they got their mail-in ballot too late or not at all.
As of today, we still have people that have not received them. We have people that have received 2 instead of none, and that's just as alarming.
Vicki Hicks says she didn't get hers until 2 days ago.
From what I understand, many, I don't dare say most, many were delivered by last Saturday.
The Iron County clerk says October 18th was the deadline to have these mailed out, and he says they were actually printed and ready by the 14th, but then they were packaged incorrectly and mixed in with other mail.
But at one point I was told they went from Vegas to Dallas to Salt Lake, but I just heard now that they actually went to San Diego.
In an effort to make up for the delay, John Whitaker says the county extended early voting. They've been delivering ballots to people who claim they never got one, and they're rounding up more staff to prepare for more in-person voters.
The problem with this whole thing is that we haven't been able to really pin down where any one person's ballot is.
People living in Iron County can still drop their ballots in any of these 8 boxes during regular business hours, but only these 3 polling centers cover the whole county. Hicks is concerned the distance and lack of ballots will deter people from participating.
Especially for the elderly people, because you have to make arrangements to get there, and they're not close.
Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, the issue in Iron County is one reason why we may have to wait a little longer to get election results tomorrow night. Long lines at in-person voting locations could mean big delays.
That is the warning tonight from Utah's chief elections officer. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow broke the story earlier today and continues our team coverage tonight.
We don't want to artificially influence any voter who hasn't voted yet, who still has an opportunity to vote.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson is bracing for long lines at polling places on Election Day.
I want every voter to know, everyone in the state needs to know that we're not going to release results until everyone in line has finished voting. So if we have locations that have really long lines, and the polls close at 8 o'clock, but everybody who's in line at 8 o'clock gets to have a chance to vote. And we're going to make sure that they all vote before we start releasing results.
But she says there's a simple solution. Turn in your ballot now.
We also worry that, there might be bad weather or long lines that might dissuade people from voting if they do wait. So I encourage everyone who knows who they want to vote for and has a ballot in their possession, go ahead and drop that off.
People have a fast pass in their possession. Everybody's received a ballot. If they want to vote on Election Day, they can mark that ballot, put it in the envelope, and they walk and drop. Go to a polling location, drop that ballot in the ballot box that we have there, and you don't have to stand in line.
Statewide, voter turnout is about 31%. The Davis County clerk says they received a lot over the weekend that they're processing right now for results to be ready on election night.
We really want everybody to exercise that right to vote.
Today is the deadline to postmark your ballot if you're mailing it in, but you can also drop it off at any secure drop box or polling place up until 8 p.m. on election night.
people in the state of Utah have a lot of confidence in our elections and in our election systems, and that confidence has actually gone up this year.
Now, it is also not too late to still register to vote and vote on Election Day. You can do that at any in-person polling location. Check with your county clerk's office for more information on that. In Farmington, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All over Utah, voters who spoke with Fox 13 News today gave many reasons for turning in their ballots.
I'm going to say inflation, okay, prices of fuel, everything else that's just kind of running rampant.
I'm trying to retire and I'm holding that off because my 401k is tanking, and I just see society morals also declining, and so between all of that, I think it's very important for a change.
The country is in a huge crisis, and so that's my first reason for being here. I think we need to all turn out and vote, for sure.
In Ben's story, you heard the Lieutenant Governor say that Utahns have increased confidence in our elections. Well, how confident are they? 89% of Utahns polled by the Deseret News and Hinckley Institute of Politics have confidence in the election system. That is up 8% from a survey conducted earlier in the year.
For more election coverage, see our guide on fox13now.com. Scan that QR code on your screen to go there right now. Our guide has information on voting and the candidates in key races. You can also find election results there once they start coming in tomorrow night.
Weather always plays a big role in elections. Let's see how it's going to turn out tomorrow, Allison.
Yes, still breezy tomorrow. Our wind is dying down a little bit right now, but we had some really strong wind gusts today. Holiday, Cottonwood 63 miles per hour, 61 miles per hour for Eureka, Vernon 60 miles per hour. Tooele Airport close to 60 miles per hour. University of Utah about 50 miles per hour. Same thing for Harriman and Grantsville. And for Pleasant Grove today, peaking at 41 miles per hour. So right now here across the state, it's still pretty gusty out in the West Desert and in Cedar City right now, about 30 miles per hour. Same thing for Hanksville. We're going to have breezy conditions again tomorrow throughout the day. Snow right now along I-80 from Wendover through the center part of Nevada. So on the way to Reno, about halfway there, you'll start drying out, and then you're going to end up with some better chances for precipitation into tomorrow. So the yellow line that you're seeing, this is Ogden. Your best chance for precipitation will be at about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then again during tomorrow evening. So we've got quite the storm that's going to be impacting our state over the next couple of days. Let's talk snow totals and when we could see that rain transitioning to snow here in Salt Lake City.
Allison, thanks so much. One teen is home tonight, but the search is on for two other Spanish Fork teens believed to have run away from home.
The parents of 13-year-old Elijah Seeley contacted the Utah County Sheriff's Office on Saturday and said the boy had left home and was possibly traveling with 14-year-old Katiana Peterson. Investigators went through Elijah's journal and found evidence he might be headed to Mexico and possibly dealing drugs to support himself.
We have concern and we want to get them home. Whatever's going on in their life is not serious enough for them to run away and put themselves at risk this way and cause their families some serious concern and worry because of them being gone.
Elijah's parents say they received surveillance video today of Elijah at Diamond Fork Middle School just before 2 a.m. Saturday. They are afraid Elijah left because he wanted to have a steady girlfriend, and they told him he is too young.
We're waiting. We're hoping that somebody has some information and then can just come forward anonymously or, however they want to handle it, just as long as we get information that leads us to get our son back and also get Katiana back.
The sheriff's office says a third missing teen was found this afternoon in Idaho. We are withholding their name and picture. They say, however, she is in good condition and authorities suspect she may know the location of the other two missing teens, but is refusing to share the information. If you see these two teens on your screen or know where they are, call 911 and report it.
Salt Lake police arrested a man off North Temple today who crashed an SUV and ran away from officers. Police say the driver, 26-year-old Johnny Quintana, had crashed into a traffic light and took off. Officers learned the SUV Quintana was driving had been stolen from another city overnight and that Quintana had a suspended driver's license.
One last night of campaign rallies ahead of Election Day. Now Lauren Blanchard in Washington, a closer look at what pollsters are saying about the potential outcome.
You really don't see it unless you're the one in the moment struggling.
With some families having a tough time putting food on the table for a holiday meal, a man in Tooele is getting the community involved to help their neighbors. It's a story that's positively Utah. Next.
And the Utah Jazz will try to make it 3 straight wins over teams from Los Angeles. We'll have the highlights of their game against the Lakers coming up in Fox 13 Sports.
We didn't even know where he was.
For the first time, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is discussing the hammer attack on her husband, Paul. It happened in the couple's San Francisco home at the end of October. Nancy Pelosi had just traveled from California to Washington, D.C. before the attack.
So I run to the door, and I'm very scared. I see this Capitol Police, and they said, we have to come in to talk to you. And I'm thinking, my children, my grandchildren. I never thought it would be Paul.
Police believe the suspect, David DePape, was politically motivated and was looking for Nancy Pelosi at the time of the attack. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges. His next court date is November 28th.
A Texas judge has sealed the autopsy reports of those killed in the May mass shooting at a Uvalde elementary school. The district judge ordered the records be given to the local district attorney. Before they were sealed, prosecutors argued those autopsies could contain important information they need to preserve until the investigation is complete. No word on how long the records will be sealed. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in the massacre at Robb Elementary School.
In the 6 weeks since Hurricane Ian hit Florida, the federal government has provided more than $2 billion worth of aid. The Biden administration released those figures today. Officials say most of the money went to FEMA, and about a third of it went directly to families who were impacted by the storm. FEMA is currently operating more than 20 disaster recovery centers in Florida in an effort to help with the rebuilding process. Well, it is that time of year where a lot of us are focused on the holidays. A man in Tooele has been putting some extra focus on helping others around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Fox 13 News anchor Brian Schnee sat down with him to learn more about a food drive that he puts on every year for his own community. It's a story that is positively Utah.
You really don't see it unless you're the one in the moment struggling.
The truth is, there are a lot of people who struggle and could use food, especially for a holiday meal.
We ended up going out and handpicking all these, and we decided to donate them.
Mackenzie knows this all too well. She and her family needed some help to get food on the table over the last few years.
It really helped us out a lot, and it gave my family Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners, and so since we had this option, I decided to give back and pay forward to other families that could really use it. Now I know why James does it. It's really rewarding. I don't expect anything out of it at all besides just knowing that we're providing to people in our community.
This is James Hunter.
We have not once had to turn anyone away.
Out of the goodness of his heart, James takes donations and helps spearhead a community food drive around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Each meal, they're not prepared. They're just raw food, and each meal feeds about 8 people.
A few years ago, James started doing his food drive for just a few families, but then he started to realize there's a much greater need.
4 years ago, I actually put a post out on Facebook that I wanted to help 2 families, and when I went to bed, I got up in the morning and I had like 15 families request the meal, and I'm like, how do I pick who I should give this meal to?
With the overwhelming response for those needing some food, he decided to put together food boxes for whoever needs it.
And if it wasn't for James, this wouldn't be happening.
With the help of donations and community members who give their time, or in some cases, handpick their own potatoes to give to others. The food drive went from supplying roughly 50 families with food boxes the first year to 250 families spread out over Thanksgiving and Christmas last year.
Our goal is to help everybody that needs one. We don't ask any questions. There's no financial. We don't say, well, we think you make too much, we're not going to give you a meal. Anybody that says they need a meal, we try to provide a meal for.
James admits he has a lot of help from a lot of great people, but he feels the need to help whoever could use food for a family meal during the holidays. So how many years are you going to keep doing this?
Hopefully until I can't anymore. I'm not getting any younger.
But he feels the need to help whoever could use food for a family meal during the holidays.
It's just amazing. It's amazing feeling to finally be at where we can help and provide. And when we weren't able to, someone else was able to help us.
In Tooele County, Brian Schnee,
Tooele County makes it happen.
Fox 13 News, Utah.
James is hoping to get 150 families in Tooele County their food boxes for Thanksgiving. Right now, they're at 50% of their donation goal to make that happen. If you'd like to help or submit for a meal this holiday season, find the link in this story on our website, fox13now.com. We have some really great people out in our community.
Started with 2 families he wanted to help.
And look, it grew
And
to
now
over 100.
150.
Way to
he's
go,
going
James.
after. That is great. That is just great.
I love to hear that. Definitely. Well, tonight, not the best news if you're wanting to wake up in the middle of the night to look at the total lunar eclipse. We are going to have mostly cloudy sky here across the state, but I went ahead and I fast forwarded our future cast because the show is going to get going about 2 a.m. and last through 4:40 in the morning. So this is paused at 3:30, and the reason I'm pausing it here is because the peak is going to start at 3:15 a.m. just about, and it's going to last for 45 minutes. And so you can see spotty cloud cover here across the state, but mostly cloudy skies. So you might get some passing clouds and you could get a view for just a moment, which would be really cool. And if you get any great pictures, we would love to see those on our Facebook page, Utah's Weather Authority. Now the show for the weather will really get going as we head into the second half of tomorrow. Look at your screen right here, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Heavy rainfall and snowfall into eastern Nevada. At that point, travel along I-80 will be really tough between Elko and Wendover. Then we fast forward this through tomorrow at 11 p.m. Election Day night. We are going to have, again, chances for showers and thunderstorms. So some very slick roads. And then we head into Wednesday, and that's when things are likely going to change over for us here in the valleys, and we'll get some very slick roads out there. So winter storm warnings have been issued. That's brand new, starts tomorrow. That's new this afternoon. But then we're cooling down as we head into Veterans Day. So if you have an event that you're going to on Veterans Day morning on Friday, expect temps to be maybe even into the teens, but close to 20 degrees early on Friday. Today, we've got snow going Wendover over towards Elko. So through eastern Nevada along I-80, winter storm warnings for the mountains Tuesday through Thursday. And then things are going to clear out. But tomorrow, Election Day here in Salt Lake City, temps close to 50 degrees throughout the morning. We're going to have the chance for some rain showers tomorrow. And then second half of the day is when we have that better chance for the stronger stuff to move in. So Tuesday at 7 a.m., we're about 45 to 55 degrees. It's going to be breezy again tomorrow. Take a look at your screen right here. This is Tuesday at 5 p.m. Wind is going to be howling again about 20 to 50 miles per hour, especially into southwest Utah. And then for St. George, your chance of precipitation will be widespread for Tuesday. Best chance will be likely for Tuesday night and likely into Wednesday. And then you're drying out. For Ogden, your best chance for precipitation will be Tuesday and Tuesday night, likely. By Wednesday night, widespread, and then drier for this weekend. And for Utah County, not as great of a chance tomorrow. Tomorrow will be scattered, but by Tuesday night, likely, Wednesday likely, and then by Thursday, you're back to widely scattered precipitation chances. So for St. George tomorrow, 62, breezy, widespread rain, 51 on Wednesday, and by Veterans Day, 53 with morning frost. For the Wasatch Front, we have mid-50s tomorrow, mid-40s Wednesday. After that, we are highs close to 35 to 40, and overnight temps really cold. Let's talk more about storm totals coming up.
Yeah, down to the teens overnight. Allison, thanks so much. Straight ahead, Salt Lake City is one of 6 cities chosen to expand a pilot program to increase safety on Uber rides. We'll show you how it works.
Plus, public comments on the Little Cottonwood Canyon gondola proposal have been published. How you can read what Utahns are saying. 99.9% of all Uber trips end without a safety issue. But with even the slightest chance of something going wrong, Uber is expanding an in-app audio recording safety feature. Salt Lake City Uber users can now set up the feature in the app safety toolkit. Riders and drivers will have the option to record audio during trips.
That's why we have built this audio recording feature, to help encourage respectful, more safe, more comfortable interactions between riders and drivers, and to allow users to send a recording to us if something does go wrong.
A pilot program in Raleigh, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, and Kansas City, Missouri got positive reviews from riders and drivers who said they felt more safe. Salt Lake City is one of 6 cities across America where the pilot program is being extended.
In declaring this week the inaugural Utah's Week of STEM, Governor Spencer Cox met an all-girl robotics team.
I was on the build team, and I am now going into business and build.
Well, they call themselves the Traffic Cone Pigeon Girls, and they showed the governor their robotics projects and what went into building them. They got a great name, don't they? While they excel in science, technology, engineering, and math, the governor admitted it was all mostly over his head. He does want all Utah students, however, to have the opportunity to learn what these students have in STEM.
STEM is one of the most, in my opinion, personally, it's one of the best parts of school, and it really prepares you for working in the real world.
Students and educators at the Utah STEM Action Center in South Salt Lake thank the governor for recognizing the importance of STEM and setting aside a week to bring more awareness to it. The midterm elections are set to play a huge role in Washington.
It's a choice between 2 very different visions of America.
Let's beat the Democrats and take this country back one step at a time.
Coming up, the balance of power between Republicans and Democrats and what's at stake.
A lot of you are in the middle of open enrollment for health insurance. We're going in depth on how much rates are rising in Utah.
It was just wind. Heavy wind. I saw one small piece come down and it was over by the fence.
High winds leave damage and debris behind in Tooele County. How residents are cleaning up and preparing for possibly more weather to come.
A long and intense midterm election campaign is now nearly over. Already more than 42 million people all across the country have voted.
But tomorrow it all comes down to turnout. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has more from Washington.
Are you ready to vote?
It's been a grueling campaign season. There are so many seats across the country that could go either way Tuesday night.
We're just not seeing any strong evidence that it's going one way or the other right now.
Monday saw candidates and party leaders making their final pitches.
This election is not a referendum, it's a choice. It's a choice between 2 very different visions of America.
And if you want to stop the destruction of our country and save the American dream, then tomorrow you must vote Republican in a giant red wave.
For Democrats, their central message was on abortion rights and the fight for democracy.
There is a full-on, unapologetic attack on individual rights. We all have something to risk and lose.
But that may not have resonated with many voters focused on the economy, a point Republicans have honed in on. The University of Virginia's Center for Politics' final crystal ball ratings predict there will be a red sweep of the House. The Senate will be close, but ultimately will turn over control, with GOP wins predicted in both Pennsylvania and Georgia. And they say Republicans will be able to pick up some governorships.
Let's beat the Democrats and take this country back one step at a time.
The nonpartisan group Open Secrets estimates these midterm elections will cost a record-breaking $16.7 billion across state and federal races. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Some voting precincts are receiving extra security. The Department of Justice announced today it would send election monitors to counties in 24 states, including San Juan County here in Utah. The DOJ says it'll also have people available to handle complaints nationwide.
If you run into any issues trying to vote, let us know. Email news@fox13now.com with what you experienced, and we'll try and help you out.
Phase 1 of demolition of the Sugar House building that caught fire late last month is set to begin tomorrow. The city says Highland Drive will likely stay closed all this week to give space for heavy equipment. 3 nearby businesses remain closed tonight because of the risk of parts of the burned building collapsing. 4 other businesses are closed because of glass falling onto the sidewalk.
Today, UDOT published all the public comments submitted on the Little Cottonwood Canyon gondola proposal. There are more than 14,000 comments spanning more than 1,900 pages. UDOT says it is still in the process of reviewing them all with the goal of making a decision sometime this winter. Now, the Utah legislature would still have to approve the funds. If you would like to read the comments, we can link you over to the special page on UDOT's website from ours at fox13now.com. Well, tonight, we're learning the city of Murray paid $121,000 to deal with a ransomware attack.
It happened in August. Residents were impacted for about a week, affecting online utility bills and phone lines being shut down. City officials are trying to determine whether personal information was compromised and have implemented safeguards to protect against any future attacks.
Well, right now, many of you may be figuring out your health insurance for next year and may be faced with higher premiums. We'll go in depth on how much rates are rising here in Utah.
And coming up, tracking a large storm system that's impacting us over the next couple of days. When the rain will turn to snow here in Salt Lake, and also what you can expect for storm totals.
November is the month for big decisions, and not just when it comes to elections, but also when it comes to choosing the right health insurance plan for you and your family.
That's right. Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth takes an in-depth look tonight at how the rates have changed in Utah.
Many of you at home are in the middle of the open enrollment window at work, and the same is true for those of you without employer-sponsored insurance to enroll on the Affordable Care Act exchange. There are a lot of options there and a wide range of costs. The state has approved a number of rate changes for Utah Affordable Care Act providers. The biggest increase was Molina's at 28%. The smallest, the University of Utah's, at about 1%. Those are the outliers, with Utah's other providers increasing rates between 6 and 8%. The important thing to remember, most people will get subsidies to help pay based on their income and the size of their households. For example, we looked up the cost of a middle-of-the-road so-called silver plan for a family of 4 and a 35-year-old breadwinner. If she makes $50,000 a year, she would get a subsidy of $803 a month. She could pay as little as $30 a month and as much as $374 a month, depending on the plan. If she makes $100,000 a year, she'd get $719 in monthly subsidies from the government, but the insurance would also cost more, so she'd pay somewhere between $573 and $1,109 a month for a silver plan. Now, the state also tracks employer plans for Utah insurers, showing HMO prices rising between 4.8 and 12.6%. And for PPO's preferred provider plans, one is staying the same price. That's from Angle Insurance. The steepest increase is 12.3%. That was from United Healthcare. Now, the deadline for the exchange is December 15th, the thing to remember. And on an employer plan, your cost has everything to do with the share of your costs that the employer pays. Because of worker shortages, some employers may swallow more of that cost to keep their staff happy. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, it has been a windy day for many Utahns. We'll take a closer look at the damage when we come back.
And it's a big night for basketball. The Jazz playing the Lakers, and the opening night for college basketball. And Cam Rising with some insight on if he could return for his senior season next year. He'll tell us about it coming up.
We have breaking news coming to us from Lehigh tonight.
Police have issued a shelter-in-place warning after a woman barricaded herself inside a home and gunshots were heard from inside. The public information officer for Lehigh City tells Fox 13 News a shelter-in-place text was sent out for 8000 North, 9550 West, but that person does not believe that address is correct and is now double-checking the information. Police are on scene right now. They are trying to talk to the woman over the phone. We have a Fox 13 News crew heading that way. We will bring you the very latest information on air and online at fox13now.com.
High winds left residents in Salt Lake and Tooele counties without power and with damage to their property this morning.
Yeah, lots of cleanup went on today. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold was in Tooele and spoke with one resident who woke up to damage at her home.
I couldn't predict the speeds, but we've had 60 plus before and nothing's come off. And this time it's come off.
Michelle Johnson has lived in her home in Tooele for more than 10 years. She says she came outside just after 6:30 Monday morning to find some of the siding coming off near the second floor of her house.
Picked it up and looked behind me and saw the 3 other long ones hanging there dangling in the wind, just slamming the house when the wind comes through.
While a first for Johnson, she says it isn't uncommon to see her neighbors or those who live nearby deal with damage when the high winds roll through.
Many houses have had shingles come off in the past year. Neighbors behind us had some come off a couple years ago and they've replaced them. So it's just the high winds, and I guess it's just Tooele.
Others in Tooele County seeing downed trees, debris in their yards, fences, and even signs that were blown over due to the high winds. The wind partially to blame for nearly 22,000 Rocky Mountain Power customers losing power in both Tooele and Salt Lake counties Monday morning.
About 6,600 in the Salt Lake area has actually been confirmed was the cause of mylar balloons. Now, for those who aren't familiar with mylar balloons, they actually have a metallic coating. And so when that metallic coating comes in contact with the lines, it trips it and it causes an outage.
Those balloons, Jonah Whitesides with Rocky Mountain Power says, were pushed into the lines by the wind.
These wind gusts do have the ability to push things into the lines, whether that's trees, tree limbs, or other foreign objects, which is why we put out the statement that we wanted people just to be prepared.
As for residents like Johnson,
got lucky. That's what I'm calling it. I got lucky this round, that it was just the house.
She's hoping the wind won't be as powerful the rest of the week.
Keeping our fingers crossed that there's no more wind and this will hold.
Well, as for the damage to the siding of her home, Johnson says she expects to have it repaired by the end of this week. Now, when it comes to potential outages, Rocky Mountain Power is urging people to be prepared by having a flashlight, battery-powered radio, and a way to charge their phones. In Tooele, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
More work is being done to make sure the next wildfire season is a bit more mild. Yesterday and today, crews burned fuel piles on 137 acres at Wolf Creek Pass off Highway 35 in Wasatch County. Another crew burned piles in Lambs Canyon in Salt Lake County yesterday.
The National Weather Service says Utah Tech University in St. George is fully prepared for extreme weather events. Today, Utah Tech was designated as a storm-ready community. Now, to get this designation, a community must prove its ability to operate an emergency operations center, have multiple ways to receive and share severe weather warnings, create a system to monitor local weather conditions, develop a formal emergency plan, and promote preparedness by the public. Utah Tech is one of 31 communities in Utah to be considered storm ready.
Snowbird's new red tram is now on its cable line. The new blue tram was installed earlier this year, but during that installation, the red tram was damaged beyond repair, and Snowbird had to order a replacement. Now both trams have been installed with just a bit more work to be done before they're both operational, the red and the blue trams. Snowbird says they should be ready to go early this season. Opening day is set for November 30th.
If you are getting a head start on the ski season by hiking into the backcountry, please right now be extremely careful. Avalanche danger is considerable in the mountains east of Salt Lake County. You can find terrain with less risk in lower elevation slopes or south-facing slopes. And with the approaching storm, keep a close eye on the Utah Avalanche Center's forecast. And of course, always bring safety gear.
Allison, going to put you on the spot just for a second here. Earlier today, I heard, and maybe I heard it wrong, that 60 inches of snow fell in the mountains. Is that?
That would be
What
a lot.
Or was it
What
16
time frame?
inches?
I don't know what the question
in
is.
this last storm?
Oh, I'm like, was
All
during
right.
the whole month? This whole
Since
year?
the beginning of
Just over
time.
the weekend. That seems a little
Since
high.
the beginning of time, I can confirm that, Bob.
Yeah.
No, we honestly could see significant snowfall measured on several feet up in the mountains over the next couple of days. The high-end range for the central part of the Wasatch Front will be 32 inches of snow through Thursday. So we've got a lot in the way. Snow already coming down right now into eastern Nevada along I-80, Elko to Wendover, and into Idaho. But here across the state, let's talk about the travel hazards. Starting with tomorrow morning, areas of green, that's rain for tomorrow morning. For portions of the Wasatch Front, we'll start seeing that filling in. And then for snowfall, we'll start seeing that also filling into the mountains initially tomorrow morning. And then throughout the day, along most of our I-15 corridor, by 7 p.m. we're tracking rain and snow. But then Wednesday morning is likely when we start to see our toughest drives throughout the day on Wednesday. By Wednesday at 7 p.m. we still have some remaining precipitation coming down and much cooler temperatures as we head into Thursday and Friday. And we also could see some areas of fog for Thursday morning. So let's talk about tonight and into tomorrow morning. 40s and 50s when you first wake up, but then look at tomorrow at 5 p.m. towards the Nevada border. We have heavy storms, strong storms, heavy precipitation, and also still some gusty winds as we head into tomorrow. So let's talk about snow chances over the next couple of days, because here in Salt Lake over the next 2 days, we are likely going to see rain until where these little squiggly lines start to go up. That's going to be at the very bottom of your screen. We've got numbers with the timing of these forecast models. And what we're looking at right here would be about Wednesday, 6, 7 a.m. That's when they start potentially transitioning to snow chances here in Salt Lake City. So winter weather over the next couple of days. Let's get to those totals. Through Thursday, with the worst conditions likely on Wednesday for winter weather, winter driving conditions. Northern mountains, low end 10 inches, high end 32 inches of snow. Northern valleys, a trace to 5 inches. Southern mountains, 12 to 24, so 1 to 2 feet. And then for the southern valleys, a trace to 6 inches of snow. Now for southern Utah, 62 degrees tomorrow. Widespread rain, still very breezy for Election Day. By Wednesday, 51, rain likely. And then 52 on Thursday, 53 on Veterans Day with morning frost. For Salt Lake, 55 for tomorrow, widespread rain. By Wednesday, widespread rain and snow. Thursday, some scattered snow remains, and then our temperatures drop. Highs near 40, lows near about 20 degrees.
Well, this Saturday may be the final time we see Cam Rising play quarterback for Utah at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Rising said he plans to be honored along with the seniors before the Utes play their final home game of the season against Stanford. Rising has played great for the Utes since taking over the starting quarterback job last season, leading the Utes to their first ever Pac-12 championship. And this year as a junior, he's been one of the most efficient QBs in the country. And he wants the seniors to go out with a big win on Saturday.
Just gotta make sure that everyone's doing their job throughout the week so that we're prepared and just ready to go fly around, so that sending everybody out on the right message.
Are you going to be going out there with them?
Oh yeah, yep.
The Jazz are going after their third win in a row tonight against the Lakers. No LeBron James tonight, but the Lakers do have Anthony Davis. Spins and throws it down for the Lakers. He had 19 points alone in the first half. Jordan Clarkson also feeling it for the Jazz in the first half. Pulls up from 3, knocks it down. He was starting to heat up. And then he gets another look from long range. This one is up and good as well, plus the foul. He completed the 4-point play. Boy, he loves it here in Utah, huh? Then just before the end of the first quarter, it's Clarkson again. 3 at the buzzer. Hits it. The Jazz with 42 points in the first quarter. They're up 18 points right now in the third quarter. Opening night of college basketball, BYU had their hands full with Idaho State. Rudy Williams ahead to Jackson Robinson. Throws it down for the Blue. The Cougars led it by 5 at the half. They were down 2 with about a minute to play, though, in the second half. Fuseni Totori puts it back. That tied the score up at 53. Then it's Spencer Johnson. Big-time three for the Cougars here. Hits it. That put them ahead for good. The Cougars needed a late rally to beat Idaho State 60-56. In-state game between Utah Valley and Utah State. The Aggies with it. The alley-oop. Sean Bairstow. He led the Aggies with 19 points. Then it's Taylor Funk. From the edge of the logo, deep three is good. He finished with 18 points. Utah State starts the season with a 77-58 win over Utah Valley. Utah playing a late game at home against Long Island. The Utes get it to Brandon Carlson down low. That's how they start the season. First 2 points for the Utes. Then it's a transfer from BYU. Gavin Baxter right down the middle to the rim. Put the Utes up by 8. The Utes lead it late by 10 in the first half. So plenty of basketball going on.
Yes. And lots of
18 over top of the Lakers.
I know. Well, all our hometown teams are up, right?
Everybody's doing good, yeah.
Well, the Cougars need to rally, but
Idaho State, I think, was picked last to finish in their conference.
Idaho State's in Pocatello. It's a little tiny town.
It's a tough. It's a good
Come
win.
on,
They win.
Cougars.
Just
Come
win.
on.
Just win, I guess.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll be right back.
Well, I was on Instagram, and one of my great friends, Rocio, posted a meme saying, instead of paying a debt for the person behind you for coffee, go pick a kid and pay off their lunch debt. So that inspired me.
Yeah, that man who was inspired is Tua Kealoha. He has donated money to pay the entire school lunch deficit for students and their families at Westvale Elementary in West Jordan. Many teachers have stepped up to donate as well, giving from their own pockets to help families having a difficult time paying for meals. The school says this is a generous gift for families who have fallen on hard times, and our hat is off to all of them.
Yeah, nice job, everyone. Quick Cast is next.